Strangely enough, the blood python did not consume the three deserting mercenaries. Instead, it carried them to its nest, tossing them into a growing mountain of corpses, right in the runestone vein that Ghislain had been searching for. The journal Ghislain had retrieved from his memory was accurate, confirming that a runestone vein lay just a little deeper into the forest. The mercenaries, who had previously been grumbling incessantly, now displayed an unexpected discipline as they forged a path through the forest. They began by cutting down trees, trimming them further to make them manageable, and then moving them. Kair watched in amazement as they worked without needing instruction, noticing how efficiently they felled a tree nearby. It was the first time he had ever seen these lazy mercenaries so well-disciplined. Gillian muttered under his breath, sensing this moment had been inevitable. Kair responded, acknowledging the irony, and then turned his thoughts back to the mercenaries' newfound focus. He wondered aloud if they would all disband after this expedition, remarking that it would be a waste to use them only once. Ghislain, focused on his task of cutting through a tree, casually mentioned that he planned to hire them all as his personal soldiers. The mercenaries had surpassed the limits of their usual role through their experience here, and Ghislain believed they could form a solid foundation for expanding his forces. Gazelle approached with a report. He mentioned that the pallor corpses had been scattered near the clearing, just as he had ordered. Kair acknowledged the report and expressed satisfaction with their progress, noting the impressive effect. He observed that no monsters had been spotted between the campsite and their current location, a sign that the tactics had been successful. His gaze briefly shifted to Ghislain, the disdain from their earlier encounters seemingly gone. However, something still felt off to Ghislain, an uneasy sensation he couldn't shake. He tried to dismiss it, but couldn't quite rid himself of the ominous feeling that lingered. Belinda suddenly appeared, swinging from a tree before landing and kneeling. Her excitement was palpable as she reported that she had returned and, with just one word, conveyed the thrilling news. There was something ahead. Ghislain immediately understood the significance. He commanded the mercenaries to clear the path at full speed, as their destination was now within reach. Hearing this, the mercenaries rallied their remaining strength and pressed forward. Not long after, they saw it, the very thing they had been searching for. The runestone vein gleamed just beyond the last line of trees. The sight of it was mesmerizing, and they paused, taken aback by the beauty of the shimmering crystals. One mercenary muttered in disbelief that this couldn't be real, while another voiced similar shock. Ghislain calmly explained that this was exactly why they had embarked on the expedition. It was a top-grade runestone vein. The crystals protruded from the earth like a mountain of diamonds, and Kair marveled at the sight, realizing that there truly was something valuable hidden in the forest. Gillian, standing nearby, couldn't resist a smug comment, praising Ghislain's foresight. Belinda, in her usual exuberance, jumped to Ghislain's side, embracing him tightly as though it were the most natural thing in the world. She asked, with excitement in her voice, how he had known about the vein. One of the mercenaries wondered aloud if all the scattered crystals were truly runestone, while another enthusiastically shouted about how they had just stumbled upon something most would only dream of encountering once in a lifetime. Others eagerly discussed the possibility of mining the crystals and becoming rich. However, a sudden, hoarse voice echoed through the mist, abruptly cutting through their excitement. It warned that none of them would be going anywhere. They immediately recognized the voice and noticed Manus standing up, as though possessed by some unseen force. Before anyone could react, Manus collapsed, shrouded in a thick mist. The mercenaries rushed toward him, calling out in frustration, but Ghislain raised his sword and commanded them to step back. With practiced ease, Ghislain stretched his arm back in preparation to swing his broadsword. When he did, the sheer power behind the strike sent a gust of wind that swept away the mist. As the fog cleared, the mercenaries were confronted with the grim sight of a mountain of bones, the blood python's lair. One mercenary shouted in horror at the sight of the countless corpses scattered across the ground. Another demanded to know what had happened here. They quickly realized that not only were there monster corpses, but human ones as well. The bodies seemed to confirm that this was no abandoned lair. Belinda and Gillian quickly fell into a defensive stance, calling for instructions from their young lord. Ghislain, his gaze scanning the area, acknowledged that peaceful mining of the runestones would no longer be possible. He noted that the scale of the carnage suggested this was the nest of high-ranking monsters, and the fact that some of the bodies weren't fully decayed indicated that it hadn't been abandoned for long. The toxic gas from the corpses had mixed with the mist, which was why they hadn't noticed the danger right away. Ghislain cursed inwardly, recalling that no records of special dangers had been noted near the vein. Everyone needed to pay attention, so Ghislain issued a command for battle, his voice ringing out as he sensed something approaching. True to his instincts, the massive blood python appeared right before him, as if materialized from thin air, moving with an uncanny stealth. The moment it did, its gaping mouth opened wide, preparing to swallow Ghislain whole. Ghislain ordered everyone to scatter, and Belinda, Kair, and Gillian immediately moved into position while Ghislain stepped forward as the vanguard. With no trace of fear, he leaped into the air, sword raised, ready to confront the python. As the python lunged, Ghislain dodged the initial strike and swung his sword downward in a circular motion. The momentum from his leap carried him toward the body of the serpent, moving safely away from its head. With his sword infused with mana, he leaped, thrusting it toward the serpent's skull. Even with the force of 2 attacks, only a shallow cut marred the python's head. Gillian, watching from the side, couldn't help but mutter that even after using mana, the strike had barely left a mark. Kair, equally astonished, voiced his disbelief over the strength of the python's scales, unable to comprehend how it could withstand such an attack. When Ghislain attempted to jump away, the python immediately opened its mouth wide again. Using its glands near the fangs, it sprayed venom at Ghislain while he was still in the air. Ghislain, quick to respond, twisted his body and turned his cape to shield himself from the poisonous spray. But the attack didn't stop there. The python swiftly brought down its tail, aiming to strike Ghislain from above. Ghislain, anticipating the strike, used the momentum from his turn to swing his sword. The tail and his blade collided, and the sheer physical power of the python sent him crashing to the ground with a tremendous impact. Belinda's voice rang out in worry, so loud it almost seemed imbued with mana, as she called out to her young lord, fearing for his safety. Meanwhile, the python's body moved frantically, and chaos erupted around them. One of the mercenaries, caught in the madness, shouted in panic, warning everyone to be careful not to get caught up in the python's rampage. Another mercenary, in frustration, questioned just what kind of snake could be this enormous, while a third mercenary screamed as the crushing force of the snake began to tear through their ranks. With the mercenaries in disarray, the experienced trio quickly took action. Gillian moved with quick movement, pulling 2 of the mercenaries out of harm's way. Belinda used a rope to tie up several others and threw them away from the crushing force of the snake. Kair, the leader of his corps, commanded his group to scatter away. The rampaging snake was relentless and devastating, and the mercenaries were helpless in its wake, screaming in fear of being crushed under its monstrous strength. Ghislain, still kneeling on the ground, tried to circulate mana through his body, preparing for his next counterattack. As he watched the python's menacing gaze fixated on him, he knew this creature was the true master of the runestone vein. In his mind, Ghislain reflected on the situation. The blood python was one of the creatures deemed impossible to hunt in the Forest of Beasts expedition. It resided deep within the forest, so he had never expected to encounter it here. The chances of victory seemed slim, and while retreating was an option, he had no time to waste. Grabbing the runestone in his hand, he steeled his resolve. If he gave up now, everything he had done up until this point would be for nothing. His mind was set, and with renewed conviction, Ghislain declared to himself that he was someone burdened with many responsibilities. With that, he activated the 3 mana cores in his upper body, raising his sword in defiance of the massive creature before him, his eyes burning with the determination to defeat it.
3rd core. Release. Then Blood Python attack the Ghislain. The Ghislain dodge and also attack on face and destroy his one eye. Blood Python surprisingly attacks with his tail but Ghislain dodge it with his blade. Ghislain and Blood Python attack simultaneously with each other. Everyone is shocked to see the Ghislain. No matter how slim the chances are. There are battles that must not be avoided. Right now is the moment to fulfill my responsibility. It doesn't show any signs of falling. Keeping the 3rd core open for too long is too risky. At this rate, my mana will run out before I can kill it. Everyone came to help the Ghislain. Belinda asked the Archduke, "Are you hurt anywhere?" While Gillian and Kair take defense stances. "Please move to safety," young master. We'll hold that thing off. Everyone, leave this place. Everyone is shocked by Ghislain's words. What? What did Ghislain just say that? What do you mean, Archduke? Even I can't guarantee I can protect everyone from a monster that size. I can't afford to lose you all here. Then what about you, young master? I have to take it down here. Just making it this far was already close to a miracle. Belinda was shocked. Why are you going this far? That time Python sprayed the venom on them. Ghislain said just go already. All the soldiers run and make the defense shield to protect the Ghislain from the venom. Ghislain is shocked. Let us fight with you. I've never met a leader like you before. We've survived so many times thanks to you. If we kill that damn snake, all the treasure will be ours. There's no way I just leave you behind, young master. I'll distract it and create an opening. Gillian. Just as we believed in you, Archduke. Please believe in us too. Everyone is waiting for his order. Its poison is deadly. Its incredibly tough blood-red scales deflect even mana-coated blades. If it lands even one attack, you will die. But its crushed right eye an open wound. I can strike there. The Forest of Beasts expedition. Let's all return together. Understood. Everyone is happy to see Ghislain is back to his form and then they start attacking the python. Kair and Belinda attack simultaneously. Where a Gillian attack and try to create an opening for Ghislain run and attack the python. Even if I know the future, not everything goes exactly as I planned. But, if I don't take action, many people will die. I won't let that happen. I am the only one who knows the future of this estate. Ghislain jumped in the air to try to attack the python but the python opened his mouth and took the Ghislain into his mouth. Everyone is shocked. Archduke. Archduke. The Ghislain destroyed the head of the python into 2 parts and came outside from it. Everyone is happy to see Ghislain save. I am the future of Perdium. On Perdium Castle. This is a clear act of treason. Ignoring the Lord's orders and entering the Forest of Beasts. Calm down, Albert. Even Lord knows the Archduke's personality is reckless. With the Lord away on a long expedition, does he think he's the ruler now? There's no use getting worked up now. The Archduke has already been in the Forest of Beasts for 15 days. If that bastard Scovin hadn't falsified his report, we could have stopped this earlier. I can't understand why he helped the Archduke. He could lose his knighthood for this. We can't overlook this any longer. My lord, we must take action before he causes an even bigger disaster. As soon as he returns, he must be imprisoned and severely punished. Sincerity. Ghislain. My lord. It's urgent. You need to come out right now. What's the matter, Randall? Archduke Ghislain has returned.